the street outside of where we are at, I believe. Is that right? Okay, so these are the crowds. The crowds have been on Capitol Hill starting from very early this morning, as well as close to the White House, where the president addressed them earlier today. It seemed that a lot of those people then made their way up to the Capitol. And now we're in a situation where protesters have breached the Capitol, guns have been drawn, gas fire in the chamber, lawmakers being evacuated. As we sit here and wait for news of what's going to happen next, the D.C. mayor has called for a curfew starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We've learned that law enforcement
absolute chaos.
Has called for reinforcements.
My microphone was not plugged in when I said something a minute ago. So. This is absolute chaos. We have reports of shots fired in the United States Capitol building as the protesters have breached the barrier. I've got this all set up immediately. I wasn't even planning on doing a video today, but here we are. This is light at youtube.com. If you're here with me today, you've seen that we have absolute chaos in the Capitol. The Trump protesters have breached, and there have been shots fired. There's a report of a bombing threat. Mike Pence has already been evacuated. We are watching this live right now, and I've never seen anything like this. I've never even heard of anything like this in American history.
Reporters, staff, and certainly lawmakers.
Kill the speaker.
What I've seen so far is that some U.S. Capitol police officers have been attacked by the protesters with tear gas. We assisted some Capitol police officers, helping them wash their eyes out, and they have advised us for the moment to
the hearings have completely stopped. I'm getting reporting right now.
Some of my colleagues,
they are hiding in closets. I report that they are currently hiding in closets. This is unreal. This is completely unreal.
Through text message and through Twitter are still
we don't have time to buffer
on
here,
lockdown
buddy.
inside the House chamber. It's my understanding that the lawmakers have been escorted out of the chamber already. I'm not sure where they were told or where they were taken to, but there are still a number of people, including reporters, still inside the
Don
chamber.
Jr. has already, by the way, came out against these protesters.
So right now, it's your understanding that they have not made it inside the House chamber?
As Donald Trump himself has turned on Mike Pence.
Because I'm 2 floors down.
This is absolute chaos.
All I can tell you is what I've seen on Twitter and from some of my colleagues. It just
is there any news in the chat that I'm unaware of? Anyone in the chat have anything I do not know?
Tear gas deployed just outside the House chamber doors. It appeared that there was some tear gas inside the chamber itself. However, I can't confirm that from my vantage point, which is about a couple floors down from the House chamber itself. All I know is there is a heavy police presence, but also a lot of pandemonium, given that a number of police officers have been injured in this melee. And so it's not very organized at the moment, and it's very terrifying.
Scott Wong, obviously hoping you and everyone up there stays safe during this. Have you been told what happens next, or what the Capitol Police is doing right now to get this situation under control?
Not on any official level, just in very basic, quick conversations I had with the officers who we were assisting. They advised either that we shelter in place or that we try to move towards some of the House office buildings. But again, because there's not a whole lot of information, we are unclear about where exactly we should go. There also, about 45 minutes ago, was an announcement that came over the loudspeakers in the Capitol that talked about the external security threat.
Remember, only moments ago, there was only a single officer on the ground when all this was happening.
People cannot come and go freely. if you are somebody who works in the Capitol. So there's also the challenge of trying to figure out how to
pull
get
up Donald
out of
Trump's
here,
Twitter feed too.
Whether by foot or by car, if the Capitol itself is on lockdown.
Scott Wong, talk about.
They are currently hiding in tunnels in between buildings. This is the biggest domestic attack on the U.S. Capitol in almost probably 20 years.
You're not. Lawmakers are the only ones allowed on those steps.
Domestic attack probably ever, almost.
It really is one of the most secure buildings in the country. There are people guarding the building at all times. To me, from how I'm looking at this, it seems that the Capitol Police chose not to engage and probably chose not to inflame the situation. There wasn't much resistance from the Capitol Police officers to the hundreds or thousands of protesters that are here on the grounds. They did earlier.
Okay, it looks like somebody has gotten a hold of Donald Trump. He has not outright disavowed the protesters, but he has now said stay peaceful
and as we saw,
side with law enforcement. So that is just now 18 minutes ago. The Donald Trump, President of the United States, has said stay peaceful to the protesters. It seems like somebody has probably gotten a hold of him, thankfully, because this is an insane fucking attack, unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Where I am, how exactly they got in or where exactly they got in, but it appeared to me that there was not, that Capitol Police, which is usually very strict about
it took them
access to
like
the Capitol,
20 or 30 minutes, by the way, to do anything. Like, this was happening for a long time before any police showed up. I believe they either already did or are about to start tear gassing this crowd if this keeps happening.
But for the Huffington Post, sent out a tweet 2 minutes ago. Nancy Pelosi is safe, the Speaker of the House. I can confirm.
I'm sure most of them are safe. But like the Black Lives Matter riots, right? Like, if everybody was there immediately to crack skulls, and here it took like 30 minutes. I mean, come on. This is the fucking Capitol.
Police would have done.
Our government is a complete chaos right now. I want you to know that.
High top officials out of this situation and get them to an area where they are protected.
I have no personal knowledge about where they would have taken the Speaker of the House. Clearly, she is in the line of succession.
As you just said, you just got here. Shots have been fired in the United States Capitol building. All of the precincts and all the representatives inside that building have been evacuated to safety areas, including Mike Pence. There is a complete storm of Trump protesters here who have stormed and breached the Capitol. They are completely complying with law enforcement. So there's threats of a pipe bomb, possibly. They have fought the police. There was presently only one police officer there earlier, and now things are continuing to escalate. And we're watching this unfold. It's all happening right here, really fucking fast.
To those secure rooms, or if they could, they would take them off-site to another.
As I just showed a moment ago, Donald Trump has apparently been gotten a hold of, and he has
one of the protesters.
He has come out slightly against this protest movement here,
of the
even though they're there for him.
This taken from moments ago on Capitol Hill. Niels Lesniewski, let me go to you. What have you learned?
Greta, the latest, I think the photo that you just probably put on the air from inside the Senate chamber is perhaps the most jarring image we have seen yet. It is.
Oh my God!
In fact, that the presiding officer's chair has been.
What is happening? This is complete chaos.
The other thing is that I can now tell
You've got to be kidding me.
That two of my colleagues, and you may see this on Twitter.
One of the protesters has been photographed at the chairman's
and Chris Chalky,
lectern. This is insanity.
On Capitol Hill are now, and this is the state of where we are. They are now in what I have to describe to you as an undisclosed location. And so we are in the situation now where there are areas in the Capitol complex places where people have been taken, that because of the ongoing security situation and basically the building being overwhelmed.
Look at this utter chaos unfolding in front of us. This is unlike anything in American history.
From what you're actually seeing on sort of these pool cameras.
So now there was an electoral coup attempt. This is a physical coup
it's
attempt.
Just an absolutely unbelievable situation. But if I can just take just a second to check the various messages here.
Continue listening. I'm going to do a quick equipment check.
As of the
I'll literally be back in 2 seconds.
Saying, well, I've heard from colleagues that just in the last couple of minutes there had still been members, at least some in the House chamber, and so they're trying to figure out how to get everyone to where they need to go, and basically, I think that the way I'm reading what I'm hearing is that at this point in time the priority is ensuring that all of the people are safe, and frankly, the building may not be the best place for people to be. So I think that there's going to be an effort to get them to secure locations.
To remove them from that building.
But the amount of damage, frankly, that we may be seeing is unbelievable. I am just getting a little bit more information. There is a possibility that the Senate is going to be going back into session in an alternate location shortly.
I don't know what's going to happen.
If that does happen, I don't think that they'll probably be able to get the television cameras in place in time. But frankly, I will do the best that I can to relay the proceedings of the Senate by phone, setting up sort of a telephone chain if we can, and if we can get an audio, and if anyone who is in that room can get audio or anything out, I'm sure they will attempt to do so if they end up convening in an alternate location.
If you are new here, I just want to say that this is unlike anything that we have ever seen in American history. This is completely insanity. Trump supporters have stormed the White House. There is now reports of shots fired and bombing threats from pipe bombs, supposedly. Vice President Mike Pence has been evacuated. All of the Senate proceedings and representatives have been, they're literally trapped in the building right now because Trump supporters have stormed in. I want to say, like the stream, please. We're trying to do everything we can here to preserve the truth. Like the stream, subscribe if you're new. I love you guys. I'm trying to give you exactly what we can. The straight dope, all of this. This is insanity.
It would be with the Senate yet, but my understanding is that there is a press pool that would be with the Senate if it were to go back into session at an alternate site.
Okay.
I really don't know if they'll be able to do that at an alternate site. I mean, like, this
Cruz,
is total, literal fucking governmental failure
the
right
Arizona
now.
Electoral College
It's in
votes.
shambles.
That's what dissolved the joint session, and the House and Senate went into their respective chambers. He tweeted out, "Violence is always unacceptable, even when passions run high. Anyone engaged in violence, especially against law enforcement, should be fully prosecuted. God bless the Capitol Police and the honorable men and women of law enforcement who show great courage keeping us all safe." That is a tweet from Senator Ted Cruz. Scott Wong also with us. Scott Wong, what have you learned?
Not that much, Greta, to be honest. We are still sheltering in place in the Capitol. I don't want to say where exactly, but
right.
It is still touch and go. My colleague...
utter insanity. Our country's on fire.
Is outside the Capitol.
The country
still
is on fire.
Hundreds of people, protesters. You probably have a better vantage point than I do, who are milling about outside the Capitol. Obviously, the Capitol building itself has already been breached.
For anyone who may have just came in, this is utter insanity. Please subscribe to continue following things like this. I try to bring only the truth in all of this type of chaos.
When I started,
it's really hard to be truthful.
I informed
You could just be crazy like these people and go busting into fucking Capitol buildings and completely disobey all law and order from the law and order party. But
in America, and
we try to do it a little different over here at Light.
Concern, despite the thousands of protesters outside that we were expecting, I never could have imagined that it would come to this, where we would see.
I couldn't have expected anything remotely similar to this.
Complex breached and disrupted like this, and have our democratic process under attack.
Did any of you think that it was going to be like this today at all?
Dramatic fashion.
I knew that there was going to be protesters, and I knew that it would be embarrassing and that there would be a meltdown. I didn't think that they would literally storm the fucking Capitol building, evacuate Mike Pence, shoot guns, and have bomb threats.
Washington Post, Aaron Davis, saying that breaking news: a source tells him the Defense Department has just denied a request by D.C. officials to deploy the National Guard.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Obviously, we'll see if
they denied the request to send the National Guard out here. They just stormed the Capitol.
Scott Wong, were you?
When would we use the National Guard then, if not for this situation?
Given any idea or communication that that this was a scenario that the Capitol Police and others were preparing for today?
As we were discussing earlier, Greta, there were a number of security.
I'm so sorry if you guys have been hearing a little echoey volume. I didn't know this was ad volume.
There was an external
on my stream here. I'm following for the chat. Low tech
put up around the Capitol to push potential protesters back away from the building. Clearly, in Washington D.C. and downtown itself.
I just want to say, where's the tear gas? Where's the running these people over with cars? Where's all the tanks? Oh, they just got denied. They are literally storming our government.
Muriel Bowser issued a statement the other day saying, urging.
If you wanted to be heavy-handed with this is an attempted revolution, and you would fight this with the military.
Stay out of the downtown region and not.
We're not even going to send National Guard to quell this.
Trump protesters for fear of violence that. Similar to what we've seen
for fear of violence. Yeah, they didn't have no fear of fucking Black Lives Matter violence. They just ran them over. All these excuses all of a sudden.
It was definitely in the back of people's minds, and that measures were put in place. But clearly, whatever scenarios were dreamed up, this has got to be, in my book, the worst case scenario, where you have a breach of the United States Capitol, interrupting the counting and certification of the Electoral College votes, violence in the building, and lawmakers and other staff fleeing for their safety.
This is utter insanity.
Jacob Goldstein, who reports for NPR, has this tweet. He's quoting here Senator Mitt Romney. This is what you've
Anybody who's just tuning in, my name is Light. There have been shots fired in the United States Capitol. Please subscribe to continue following this. We're going to be watching this as it unfolds.
His colleagues who were leading the charge to press Mr. Trump.
I love you guys. Stay safe. Hopefully none of you that tune in are here at D.C. because it is in chaos right now.
What's your reaction to hearing that?
Well, it was interesting that you mentioned Mitt Romney because there was video this
Donald
week
Trump
of
has denounced this already. If you also haven't seen,
through the Utah
he was egging it on. It seems somebody has gotten to him. He has now said to side with law enforcement
and he was heckled
and to stay peaceful.
Trump supporters.
Well, these people aren't staying peaceful, so I guess they're going against Trump right now.
Pro-Trump supporters.
They have breached in. Senators are hiding in closets.
To Mitt Romney.
The government is in complete chaos. Nothing is in control right now.
He brushed it off and said he's used to it after being in the
spotlight. This is such an embarrassment. I've never seen anything like this.
Clearly we've reached a level of discourse that has been, so egregious that it has descended into violence on this particular day.
Multiple times this year.
I've been trying to actually reach a lot of lawmakers myself who are normally very responsive and have been unsuccessful so far. Oh, I just got a text message from the Speaker's office, from the Speaker's top spokesman.
We have breaking news.
Who confirms other reporting that the Speaker is in a safe location and unharmed.
Okay, so we now have an update
Kevin
on
McCarthy, who is
condition
the
of the
minority
speaker.
leader,
They are completely
for the Republicans
safe
in the House.
at the time being. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, though, because
Thank
part
you,
of this shit
Capitol
could
Police,
blow
for
up.
protecting the people's
This situation
house.
is complete
Protesters
chaos. There could be
have a
bombs.
constitutionally protected right to be heard, but I urge them
I believe
to
4 bomb
remain
squads have already been
peaceful.
issued.
And Greta, it's my understanding that from tweets from some of my colleagues that Kevin McCarthy has just called into Fox News as well, and has said that, and has called the violence and the breach of the Capitol so un-American, and he's urging anyone involved in this, if they can hear him loud and clear, that this
Please
is not
remember
the
to
American
like the
way,
stream. It helps
that
out a
this
lot,
is
and
not
subscribe if
protected.
you're new.
This type of violence is not protected by the First Amendment.
This
And
is
he says
absolute
this
insanity,
must
and
stop
we're doing
now.
all we
Now,
can
there are
to point
a
this
lot
out
of
and,
Republicans, I
so to
think,
speak, shed a light
in
on it.
Washington and
Welcome to
perhaps
Light.
around the
That's my
country
name,
who
and this is my channel.
Want the president to sort of call off these protesters. Of course, the president earlier today was
literally
whipping up a lot of his supporters into a frenzy.
Where's the military?
And urging a march down to the Capitol.
As we just saw, the Defense Department denied the request for the National Guard.
Violence, but clearly the insinuation was there that they had
This
to
completely
stop
calls for the military.
The
This is an
certification
absolute chaos.
of the Electoral College in favor of Joe Biden, and that is exactly what has taken place so far. The certification of the election of Joe Biden.
Police have guns drawn and aimed at the door
happens,
because people are
under
smashing
federal
glass
law
doors
every
down in the
4
House
years
chamber.
Has been completely.
There is a standoff with police officers and Trump supporters currently.
From both chambers
This is
to
absolutely
basically be
out of
escorted
control.
or flee to safety. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. We've never seen this in
Never.
In at least in my lifetime and in many generations.
Not even the 60s riots and protests were this out of control.
Set fire to the Capitol. There are still reminders of that attack in the building. There have been,
and those were rightfully so pretty rowdy
among lawmakers in the past. Lawmakers have suffered enormous injury.
Keep me updated on the Twitter news, if you can, because I am trying to cover C-SPAN, the direct news broadcast chat, if you can.
All right,
I'm following Donald's Twitter here, his news, but that's it.
And Catherine Tully McManus with CQ is joining us now from an undisclosed location, and we'll keep it that way. Just tell us, Catherine Tully McManus,
for the
where
safety.
you were when the Capitol was breached.
What was that?
And what you saw.
I was in the Senate chamber watching the proceedings.
Okay, we have a ground reporter.
That is also a very safe location. It is very highly secured, and so when the Capitol went into lockdown, that is where we headed. The doors were barricaded, etc. It became clear at one point that the lawmakers who were seated in the chamber itself, no longer conducting business ended when the lockdown began. They were told to evacuate the chamber, which was thought to be the safest place for them to be. That was a crush towards the doors as everyone tried to get out of there. Reporters,
absolute insanity.
With, senators themselves, staff, etc., were then hustled.
Absolute insanity. If you're just tuning in, shots have been fired. There's a police standoff with Trump supporters.
Where we now are.
The U.S. Capitol is a complete chaos.
It was the most dramatic thing that I've ever seen at the Capitol. I've only been around for about 8 years, but to be alongside members of the United States Senate as we are hearing over police radios about barricades being breached, potentially shots being fired. I'm aware that the chamber
many
itself
people are hiding inside the chambers.
Breached. There is either smoke or gas of some sort over on the House side.
I believe that is tear gas.
Chamber. It's not like anything.
Or at least
I've
there
ever
was supposed
seen.
to be tear
I
gas.
would say the Capitol building itself is completely not secure right now.
No, it's the furthest thing from secure.
Senators saying as you were being rushed out of the chamber?
They were, grateful for the direction and guidance of where to be headed. As people do during a time of crisis, there was some nervous laughter and joking around, definitely not making light of the larger situation. But senators saying to each other, I'm oh, here you are, like, oh, we're in this together. And a kind word to reporters who were being shuffled.
This is absolute utter madness for those just tuning in. The U.S. Capitol is literally in shambles right now. Trump supporters have stormed and breached the U.S. Capitol. Everyone in there is either evacuated or hiding in closets. Mike Pence has been evacuated about 30 minutes ago. Shots have been fired. There's a standoff between police and Trump supporters. They're completely out of control. The police response is also very far behind, so that part has been lagging to gain any control. And on top of all of this, Trump has not come out and fully denounced any of this. He said, support law enforcement and stay peaceful. They're not staying peaceful, and that's all he said. This is utter madness.
Sure.
But what I
Please
will
like
say
the
is
stream and subscribe
is,
if you're new.
The Senate has procedures in place, and the House, for how to meet somewhere else. There are contingencies. There are backup locations in place. That has happened before during the anthrax attacks,
Breaking!
Back in the early 2000s.
Breaking news. D.C. paramedic source tells of one person has been shot in the Capitol. I repeat, one person has been shot in the D.C. Capitol. There has been a casualty. They're performing CPR right now, paramedics.
All of the potential locations.
Is there another feed?
I do believe it seems like a big challenge given
What about
the
PBS? I bet
status
PBS has
even
a feed on
inside
this,
the
huh?
Capitol building itself. And
This is
the chaos
utter
that is also
insanity.
happening outdoors.
President Trump has tweeted at 3:13 p.m., I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue, he said.
The Capitol Police, I think it's important to note, has a police force that is similar to the size of that serves, for example, the city of Atlanta or other large metropolitan areas, just for the Capitol campus and some of the surrounding.
Remain peaceful, quote, no violence, exclamation point.
Okay, we are now checking the PBS
Remember,
feed.
we are the party of law and order, end quote. And again, these are supporters of the president who are behind what you're seeing in all these pictures. And this is the president asking his own people to be calm. Lisa Desjardins at the Capitol, what are you learning? Lisa.
Yeah, I just was speaking to another member of Congress, Representative Marc Desaulniers. He's a NewsHour watcher, and I think this just speaks to the very strange mood that we're in.
Do we
as
have
I
any
told you, I saw some
corroboration
people
on
with
the
tears
gunshot
in their
victim?
eye, fear on their face. Representative Desaulniers said, "I love your cat." So.
Ooh, okay.
Area. There is a massive undertaking, the Capitol Police Force. They have an enormous budget that has only been increased over and over and over. In the chamber, really comfortable in the chamber. They, as soon as the doors were locked, were all on their phones, whether they were talking to family or staff, I don't know, but they were
brand new news. There is a gunshot victim in the Capitol. Paramedics are performing life-saving emergency services on them right now.
I have never had to before text or call my parents to tell them that I'm safe while at work very often. Not never before, but it is a very tense, and people are really concerned about.
I've never seen this is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my entire life, or could have ever expected to see. Our country is literally on the precipice.
The Capitol is being burned. There's movement happening right now, so
okay.
I don't know if I'm going to have to move.
Yep.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, Catherine Tully McManus on the phone with us at an undisclosed location. She was moved out of the Capitol along with other members of the media out of the Senate chamber with lawmakers. Excuse me. I want to show you. This
There's
is
such chaos
got
right now.
one of our camera techs outside of the Capitol, and as you can see, this is the Senate side of the Capitol grounds. Here's some of the protesters. You can see them walking away walking away from the Capitol at this point.
Okay,
Obviously,
so it looks like
there are many more still on the Capitol grounds.
There is some control on the situation right now.
The security question.
There's movement
remains.
happening.
We do know from the Speaker's office, according to Scott Wong's reporting, that the Speaker has been evacuated. She's safe. She's unharmed.
Mitt Romney's dunking on Ted Cruz as this happens, yelling across the chamber, "This is what you got, Ted!"
Been removed,
as the chat's reporting, that's
the chamber,
pretty funny.
At least in the Senate, we know that. And the
coming in, there is a gunshot victim in the Capitol.
Help on Capitol Hill. I want to show you this.
As our government is in complete chaos right now.
This is in the House chamber, I believe, where
Look at
guns
this.
were drawn, as many reporters noted.
Guns are drawn and aimed at the door of protesters on the other side. There's a standoff happening right now.
It's 3:20 p.m. here on the East Coast, and the House and Senate were in the process of
If you're new here, please like the stream and subscribe. I'm trying to bring you everything I can, buddies.
When the protesters
trying to keep it straight too
came to Washington in support of the president, stormed the Capitol and breached the Capitol security, got into the Capitol itself, into the hallways, into the Senate chamber. We've seen from images as well as the House chamber as well, or at least outside of the House chamber at this point. Lawmakers are being told to shelter in place. The D.C. mayor has called for a 6 p.m. East Coast curfew, and the scene is unfolding on Capitol Hill. We're waiting to
this is domestic
find
terrorism.
out more information, obviously, from Capitol Police as to what happens next.
This is utter domestic terrorism.
Niels Wisniewski with us? Niels, are you still with us? Okay. Kevin McCarthy, the leader for the Republicans, sent this out. Thank you to Capitol Police for protecting the people's house. Protesters have a constitutionally protected.
Okay, let's check the other feed.
I just want to convey that inside the Capitol.
Oh, yes, it is the people's house from the standpoint of this is our government, and it's a democracy. So this is the people's house, but at the same time, business has to be conducted. People's lives and affairs have to be respected, and security has to be respected. And that's not happened. That's not what's happened today. This has been an overrunning of security way beyond what anyone expected.
The National Guard is controlled by the Department of Defense, which is of the President's cabinet. That is why there's a lacking response, because the Department of Defense, which is controlled by Trump, has denied the National Guard from showing up there. Nothing more on this feed. Let's go back to the C-SPAN feed.
Stacey Plaskett,
didn't
who
want to
represents
believe
the U.S.
that people
Virgin Islands, a
would take this.
Democrat. Delegate Plaskett, I know you don't want to tell us where you are. How are you at this moment?
Very well. I'm really grateful to you all for keeping everyone informed. Myself and the few staffers that were here are well at this point.
What were you told, and how were you told about the breach?
We were watching as everyone else was. One of my screens turned to C-SPAN and another one turned to live news, was watching the speeches by members during the debate, and then
this is going to be remembered as one of the most important moments in all of United States, especially political history. So you are watching a historical, huge moment unfold right now. This will likely be in history books of just how out of control the government really was in 2020. how out of control it eventually ended up with people literally just not even knowing what to do and creating such a horrifying movement that would break into the Capitol, and they have no idea how to respond to it. This is utter insanity. And if you're watching this live right now, there have been gunshot victims reported. There have been many acts of violence reported. The police are only just now beginning to get any sort of grip on this. When this was jumping off, there was one police officer there trying to stop this, by the way. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So hurtful to watch these individuals in desecrating is the word I would use, the U.S. Capitol, that which was built by African Americans, that was fought over by so many Americans in the Civil War and wars beyond.
We're having a bit of connection issues here, huh? Oh, God almighty.
Our servicemen and women who continue to fight for democracy, and those elected officials that are here to do the right thing, to represent the people of this country. This is just absolute chaos.
What have you been told about what you should do right now, or what comes next?
At this point, we are keeping safe, and I think the safety of the members of the Capitol Police officers and even.
I'm sorry, guys. If this connection keeps dipping the way it's doing right now, I'm going to have to come back in at a later date, which may be good anyway, because we would have more information by then.
To be engaged in the violence, and that they are being kept safe. And I would assume that at this point after that, we would.
Okay, yeah, we're not doing good right now.
Begin to
this has been utter insanity.
I want to remind everyone that Muriel Bowser.
Let's go ahead and pause that now. This has been utter insanity. I'm so glad and thankful that you tuned in here to see what's been happening. I want you to tune in later today. I will be, as more information comes out about this, absolutely I will be back and leave this all set up just like this so I can come right back. There will be more information on this. As we know right now, like I said, to recap, there is at least one gunshot victim. There has been multiple acts of violence. They have stormed the Capitol in a completely unlawful and uncontrolled manner. They are out of their minds. The police have only just now, many hours, like an hour and a half at least later, gained any sort of control on this. And tune in later to Light at YouTube here. That'd be me. Tune in later. We will be absolutely going over all of this. This has been Light.